Welcome to tonight's episode of Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel, and as always, I have a very special guest for you. Jay Hill, who's the founder of the New Year's Eve Brooklyn Ball, right here, is with us for the next 30 minutes. So stay with us. You're watching Beyond Focus TV.
Beyond Focus TV allows you to discuss contemporary topics affecting the Caribbean people on both a national and local level. The show features informed guests who offer insight, debate, and evaluate various issues. Beyond Focus TV builds on the station's mission to provide useful information to the Caribbean people in New York and abroad. Beyond Focus TV, where our viewing audience can get educated, informed, and empowered.
3, 2.
Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel. And like I said, I have a very special guest, Brooklyn. If you love Brooklyn, then definitely this is something you're going to want to know about tonight. Mr. Jay Hill, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, Lydia.
It's wonderful because Jay is actually the brainchild. We're going to talk about the Brooklyn New Year's Eve ball. All right? It's the ball drop. For those who don't know, first time ever. First time ever. So this is really exciting for me. This is really exciting for anyone who lives in Brooklyn, has roots in Brooklyn. Even if you don't, just the fact that it's homegrown, I think is really important.
Right.
So we're kind of talk all about that here tonight. So kind of let's go into you a little bit. Jay Hill. Who is Jay Hill? What do you do?
Well, I mean, I'm Brooklyn born, very passionate about Brooklyn. Mother is from Brooklyn, grandparents, moved from down south to Brooklyn. Have a huge family. We're all in Brooklyn. So, it's I'm excited about what we're ready to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to just clear it up. We're not dropping the ball. The Brooklyn Ball is going to rise. So, it sounds easier saying ball drop, but at some point, it's going to make sense when we say, "Oh, the Brooklyn Ball rise." Like it don't sound like it doesn't have a ring to it yet, but when we make history this year, it's all going to make sense.
Absolutely. And that's great. You brought up that little correction. It's going to rise up. So that's something that definitely could set you apart.
Right.
From the traditional one in the city, which is great. But people really get to see that. So let's kind of talk about the vision behind this and really what exactly is going to happen on December 31st.
So the vision, it pretty much started in 2012 when the Barclays Center came up. Now, I'm a visionary. I like to consider myself to be a visionary. I've done a lot of events, live productions, music videos, and short films. So entertainment is what I really love to do.
Mm-hmm.
But being passionate about Brooklyn, when the Barclays Center opened up on September 28th, that happened to be my birthday. And it says something to me. I'm like, wow, we made history with an arena, and, I felt the way because it was on my birthday. And I'm like, what's next for Brooklyn?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, we got to do something for New Year's, a ball. So, I mean, once that hit me, I was just like, I said, wow, totally misled by just it being an idea because it's not like doing a party.
Yeah.
I've done, big parties and productions, but this right here is something that is bigger than me. It's for the entire borough. What we're trying to do is create an experience for Brooklyn in its entirety.
Mm-hmm.
We want to involve every neighborhood in Brooklyn. So it's not like because I'm from Bedford-Stuyvesant, everybody from Bedford-Stuyvesant is going to be there. That's not what it's about.
Right.
This is about, every neighborhood, contributing in some type of way. Whether y'all going to come down there or you're going to donate to a crowdfunding, that we're going to do, or even watch it live streaming,
Mm-hmm.
So we want, everybody to be involved.
That's amazing. So basically 5 years later,
5
Here
years
we
later.
are, getting ready for kind of, let's talk about, a lot of people don't really understand the steps and how much work really goes into this. And you touched upon it briefly, and you said this is not like putting on a party.
Right. It's, you know, when I first really decided that this is something that I wanted to pursue, I was passionate about it. And when you pursue something that takes so much time, like it has to be passion driven. And I spoke with the late Ken Thompson, Brooklyn DA, and he was like, "Wow, Jay, like this is an amazing idea. Let me make some phone calls for you." And he made some phone calls to some elected officials, and they've been behind the vision, but it's a lot of things that I didn't have in place. I know I wanted to, I know I had a vision of seeing, a ball, go up instead of come down. We're not reinventing the wheel. Like it's obvious Times Square had been doing it for 100 and something years. So it's like, okay, should be easy. Like they doing it, but it took me like a year to find the company that can do the ball.
Really?
So one of my partners, he found this company in Yonkers, and they're the fabricators for the Times Square ball.
There you go.
So it's just interesting because me and my partner went there, and it felt good to finally find this place and like, okay, we're going to get a ball finally. But they're very pricey. Like,
Well, I can imagine.
They said the Times Square ball is like $700,000, and I'm like, for a 12-foot ball. So I'm like, wow. So what can I get for a 6-foot ball? Because my budget is small. And they gave me a quote for a couple $100,000, like $300,000-$400,000, and I'm like, wow, that's like, I don't even have a sponsor yet. I don't have like, nobody to help finance this yet. So, but at least that was a starting point.
Exactly.
But then when you try to build a team, and you have people who's excited about it because they believe that the timing is right for Brooklyn to do something like this, which is right on point. Like 2012 is when I had the vision for it, but was Brooklyn ready for it? 2012, probably not. 4 or 5 years later, I think Brooklyn is absolutely ready for it in every way. And my company NYE Brooklyn Ball, we're finally ready for it. We went through a lot of different people who wanted to be on the team, and I'm like, okay, so I vet this person and this company, and everybody is about money. Like they want to charge me to proposals, and it's a big difference from shooting a music video when we write the treatment, the record company, they approve it, they have a budget, they give us the money, we shoot the video. But this right here, it's just a lot of people saw, like, they compare it to Times Square, so they feel like it's a big money deal, and they think that I got the money like Times Square, but
you don't.
I don't.
It's not there yet. But hold that thought. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us. welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel, sitting here with Jay Hill, founder of the NYE Brooklyn Ball. It's like we were saying right before the break. People think you have it like that just because they're seeing a New Year's Eve event, dollar signs, and they don't understand that one is the first time,
Right.
first ever coming to Brooklyn, we're doing an event like this.
Right.
And there's going to be a lot of hiccups, things along the way. So let's kind of highlight some of the challenges to really let everyone at home know really what it's going to entail to make this happen on the 31st.
So after I found a company that can do the ball, and the company in Yonkers who did the Times Square ball, like that was just, my vision kind of expanded a little bit more, and they couldn't give me what I wanted, which worked in my favor because, it turned out that I actually purchased the ball for a lot cheaper. So, but after that, it's still with the permits now. We have to have a home for the ball. So, we have this vision, but where are we going to put it? Brooklyn is huge. Brooklyn has over 40 neighborhoods. So where are we going to put it? I initially wanted to put it down by the Barclays Center. I mean, it makes sense for obvious reasons. But they were doing so much construction down there. So, like, I just got shut down by, so many times. But, I always go after what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And, with the rejection, it's like, you got to treat it like ice cream. You gotta start enjoying the rejection, but you always gonna keep on going for it until somebody say yes. So right now we still haven't solidified a location, but we put the permits in for three different locations. It'll be downtown Brooklyn. One of the locations is actually way up by Flatbush, but it's still been a long journey. I've had the challenge of having a team of people who I kind of put trust in, and then it just didn't turn out right.
Of course.
And it's unfortunate because this is something that, this is for everyone. Like this ball, I'm the visionary behind it, but, this is a Brooklyn ball. I want to have Brooklyn businesses involved with this. I want to have young college kids working on the production. In every field of what it takes to make this happen, from the operations to the talent to the marketing, I want Brooklynites to partake in it, because it's part of the experience. When you do something that makes history, you have something to hold on to.
Absolutely, and that's leading into my next question. You said before you weren't sure if Brooklyn was ready for it a few years ago, but Brooklyn's definitely ready now.
Yeah.
What makes you so sure? I know we're ready, because now is the time.
I mean...
But what has really changed that you witnessed that you could say, yes, Brooklyn, improving your case to those who still may think it's not the right time, it's not a right fit?
I mean, it's just an opinion, but I look at where Brooklyn is now. Brooklyn... resides so many people now. People from Manhattan moved to Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. People from Long Island moved to Brooklyn. People, migrated here. So there's a reason for that. This is it's a thriving city. This is what my opinion is, the new Mecca of New York City.
It is.
But one thing, Brooklyn is divided into neighborhoods, but it's one big neighborhood, as far as I'm concerned. It's not commercial. Manhattan, we work there, but we come home to Brooklyn to, enjoy ourselves. So, I actually think that the time is now, to raise the ball for New Year's Eve.
I love that. And just to give people an overall figure, how much is something like this really? Because people throw out numbers, but